still there. Glad you're still there. Thanks for sticking in there. Thanks for being patient. I'm just gonna go wash my hands. I'll be back in a minute. So we got 2 batches in the oven, 1 in the pot. I've recited 1 poem and 1 story. Let's just go with another poem. This one is another Robert Browning poem called Child Roland to a Dark Tower Came. My first thought was he lied in every word, that hoary cripple with malicious eye, askance watched the working of his lie on mine. I'm most scarce able to afford suppression of the glebe, person scored a dead jab, one more victim gained thereby. What else should he be set for with his staff? What saved Whaley with his lies and snare? All travelers who might find him posted there. And asked the road, I guessed what skull like laugh would break, what crutch can write my epitaph of pastime in the dusty thoroughfare. If at his counsel I should turn aside into ominous track which all agree hides the dark power, yet acquiescing I did turn as he pointed, neither pride nor hope rekindling at the end descried, so much as gladness some end might be. For what with my whole world wide wondering, what with my search drawn out through years, my first thought was he lied in every word, and hoary cripple with malicious eye, askance to watch the working of his lie on mine, and most scarce able to afford suppression of the glebe, and person scored its edge at one more victim gained thereby. What else should he be sent for with his staff? What saved Whaley with his lies and snare? All travelers might find him posted there. And asked the road, I guess would skull like laugh would break, or crutch can write my epitaph or pastime in the dusty thoroughfare. If at his counsel I should turn aside into ominous track which all agree hides the dark tower, yet acquiescing in turn as he pointed, neither pride nor hope rekindling at the end described, so much as gladness some end might be. For what with my whole world wide wondering, what with my search drawn out for years, what hope dwindled into a ghost on cope with that obstreperous joy success would bring. I hardly tried now to rebuke the spring my heart made, finding failure in its scope. As a sick man very near to death seems dead indeed, and feels begin and end the tears, and takes a farewell of each friend, and hears one bid the other go, draw a breath, freely outside, since all is over he saith, and the blow full and no grieving can amend. While some discuss if here other grave be room enough for this, and when a day suits best for carrying the corpse away, the caraboat against banners and stars and stays, and still the man hears all and only craves, he may not change such tender love and stay. Thus I had for so long suffered in this quest, heard failure prophesied so oft be grit, so many times among the band of wit, the knights who to dark tower search address their steps, that just to fail as they seem best, and all doubt was now should I be fit. So quiet as despair I turned from him, that hateful cripple, out of his highway into the path he pointed. All the day had been a dreary one at best, and dim was settling into its close, yet shot one grim red leer to see the plain catch its astray. For mark, no sooner was I fairly found, pledged the plain after a pace or two, then paused and throw back with a last view, over the safe road 'twas gone, the great plain all round, nothing but plain to the horizon found. I must go on, naught else remained to do. So on I went. I think I never saw it starved ignoble nature, nothing throve, for flowers as well expected cedar grove. But charter and spurge, according to their law, might propagate their kind with none to awe. You think a bird being a treasure trove. No Penry and herb to secret ways in some strange sort were the land's portion. See or close your eyes, said nature peevishly. If nothing skills, I can't help my case. 'Tis last judgment skill must cure this place. calcine its claws to set my prisoners free. If there pushed any ragged thistle stalk above its mates, its head was chopped. The bents were jealous elves, what made the holes and rents in the dog's harsh horse leaves, bruised as to balk all hope of greenness. 'Tis a brute must walk, pashing their life out the brute's intents. As for the grass, it grew as scarce as hair and leprosy. Thin, dry blades pricked mud, which underneath looked beaten up with blood. One stiff, blind horse, as every bone was stare, stood stupefied however he came there, thrust out past service from the devil's stud. Alive, he might be dead for aught I know, with red, gaunt, and callous neck astrain, and shut eyes beneath the rusty mane. Seldom went such grotesqueness with such woe. I never saw a brute I hated so. He must have been wicked and deserved such pain. I shut my eyes and turned them on my heart, as a man calls for wine before he fights. I asked one draft of earlier, happier sights. Ere fit that I could hope to play the part. Think first, fight afterwards, a soldier's art. One taste of old times sets all to rights. Not it. I fancied Cuthbert's reddening face beneath its garniture of curly gold. Dear fellow, till I almost felt him fold an arm and mind to fix me to that place. That way he used. Alas, one night's disgrace. Oh, it my heart's been fire and left it cold. Giles, then, the soul of honor, there he stands, frank as 10 years ago when knighted first. An honest man should dare, he said he durst. Good, but the scene shifts. Fall what hangman's hand pinned to his breast of parchment. His own band reads it. Poor traitor spit upon and cursed. Better this present than a past like that. Back therefore to my darkening path. No sound will sight as far as the eye can strain. Will the night send a howl or a bat, I asked, when something on the dismal flat came to arrest my thoughts and change their train. A sudden river crossed my path, as unexpected as a serpent came. No tides congenial through the glooms. This is the froth by might it be a bath of the fiends going who to see the wrath of its black eddies be spat with flakes and spoons. So petty yet so spiteful, all along those scrubby alders kneeled over it. Drenched willows flung them headlong, their fit to rout despair. The suicidal throng, the river which had done them all wrong, whatever that was, rolled by, deterred no whit. Which while I forded, good saints, how I feared to set my foot upon a dead man's cheek. Each step or feel the spear I thrust to seek, for hollows tangled in his hair or beard. It may have been a water rat I speared, but ugh, it sounded like a baby's shriek. Glad was I to reach the other bank. Now for a better country. Vain presage. Who were the strugglers? What war did they wage? Whose savage trample could thus pad the dank soil to a plash? Toads in a poison tank, or wild cats in a red-hot cage. The fight must so have seemed in that foul search. What penned them there with all the plain to choose? No footsteps leading to that horrid muse. None out of it. Mad druids set to work, their brains no doubt like galley slaves a Turk. Pits for his pastime, Christians against Jews. And more than that, a furlong on, why there? What bad use was that engine for? That wheel or brake, not wheel, that harrow fit to reel men's bodies out like silk, with all the air of Tophet's tool, on earth left unaware, brought to sharpen its rusty teeth of steel. Then came some stub ground, once a wood, next to marsh it would seem, now mere earth, desperate and done with, so the fool finds mirth, makes a thing and mars it, till his mood changes and off he goes, within a rude bog, clay and marsh, sand stark black dirt. Now blotches rankling color, gay and grim, now patches where some meal, where patches of, now some blotches where color, gay and grim, now patches where some leanness of the soil's broken and lost of substances like oils. Then came palsied, a cleft in him, a distorted mouth that splits its rim, gaping at death and dies while it boils. As far as ever from the end, not in the distance with the evening knot, point my footsteps further out to thought, great black bird of volumes, bosom friend, sailed past and beat his wide wings, dragging pants, that brushed my cap, perchance the guide I sought. From looking up where I somehow grew, the plain to give a place all round the mountains with such names to grace mere heights and deeps now stolen view. How thus they surprised me solving you, how to get from there was no clearer pace. Yet half I seemed to recognize some trick of mischief happened to me. God knows when, in a bad dream perhaps, here ended then progress this way, when in the very nick of giving up one more time, came a click as when the trap shuts her in the dead. Burningly it came upon me all at once. This was the place. Those two hills crouched like two bulls while morning fight, while to the left a tall scalp mountain. Duns doddered and dozing at the very nuns after a lifetime of training for the sight. What in the midst lay but the tower itself, a round squat turret, blind as a fool's heart, built of brown stone without a counterpart in the whole world. The tempest mocking out points to the shipman dust on the sea shelf, and strikes on only when timber starts. Not seen, because of night perhaps, why day came back for that. Behind it left the dying sunset, kindled through a cleft. The hills like two giants in the hunting lay, chin upon hand to see the game at bay. Now stab and end the creature to the heft. Not here, when noise was everywhere, it told, increasing like a bell, names in my ears, of lost adventurers, my peers. How such was strong, and such was bold, and such was fortunate, yet each of old, lost one moment now the woe of years. There they stood, ranged along the hillside bed, to view the last of me, a living frame, for one more picture in a sheet of flame. I saw them and knew them all, and yet, dauntless as hunger to my lips, I set to blue, child rolling to a dark tower came. I got a bit of a dry throat this morning. Not sure what's going on. Hopefully I'm not getting sick. I don't feel like I'm getting sick, but it is the middle of July. There's no reason I should be getting sick at this time of year. In my opinion, my uninformed medical opinion. Oh, crappy boards. Time to get some new ones, I think. Oh, this one's falling right apart. Brace board. I think this batch is done. Let's check it out. Oh, the edge on this ship is corrupt. It's not. They see like 30 more seconds. They're pretty close. And yeah, let's take one up. Oh, the stupid board.
Good morning.
Let me tell you another story. There once was a rich man who had just one son, and the boy was dearly loved by his father. As everybody knows, the greatest scourge on earth for a rich man is work. Therefore, when his son turned 14, the father decided to send him to school to learn the science of laziness. On the same street as the rich man, there lived a famous and highly respected professor who'd never done a lick of work in his life he could get out of doing. The rich man called on him and found him stretched out in the garden under a fig tree with a cushion under his head, a cushion under his back, and a cushion under his buttocks. Before talking to him, I must first see how he does, said the rich man to himself. And he hid behind a hedge to observe the man. The professor lay as still as a corpse, with his eyes closed. The only time he stirred was whenever he heard the thud of a ripe fig falling on the ground near where he lay. He'd reach slowly out, bring the fruit to his mouth, and swallow it. Then he wouldn't stir again until another fig fell. This is just the professor my son needs, decided the rich man. And he came out from his hiding place, introduced himself, and asked the professor if he'd teach his son the science of laziness. Old man, answered the professor just above a whisper. Don't talk so much. It tires me to listen to you. If you want to bring your son up as you and I are, just send him to me. So the rich man went home, took his son by the hands, thrust a feathered pillow under his arm, and led him to the garden. I urge you, he told him, to do everything you see this professor of idleness do. The boy, who already had an inclination for that particular science, also stretched out under the fig tree. Observing his teacher, he saw him reach for every fig that fell and bring it to his mouth. Why should I work myself to death reaching for figs, he thought. And he lay there with his mouth wide open. Soon a fig fell into his mouth, and he let it go down slowly. Then he reopened his mouth. Another fig fell. This time it missed. He lay there perfectly still and murmured, "Why so wide of the mark? Fig fall into my mouth." Seeing how wise his pupil already was, the professor said, "Go on now. You have nothing to learn from me. You can even teach me something." So the boy went home to his father, who thanked heaven for having given him such a smart son. That was a story called The Science of Laziness. And it's based on an Italian folk tale that I've made some modifications to. For instance, I changed the, I say a rich man instead of an old Turk is what was in the original, which I feel has sort of a racial connotation, considering the content of the story. I think it's more appropriate to insult the rich than it is to insult a racial or an ethnic group. I think it's pretty old-fashioned racism. I mean, all racism is old-fashioned, but I shouldn't say that. Hate is nothing new. It's nothing new. Hello, welcome. I like the change. I'm not sure what change you're talking about. These are everything bagels. I currently have a batch of sesame and another batch of everything in the oven. I just took out my first batch of sesame. Oh, okay. Sometimes I have moments of amnesia. I forget exactly. I forget what I'm talking about. I had a moment there where I thought maybe I'd already dropped a batch into the pot, and I was putting a second batch in. So it's stuff of what nightmares are made up for. This is the kind of things that bakers, if they slept properly, would have nightmares about. But bakers, since they don't sleep properly, they don't have to worry about having nightmares and shit. Oh, my battery's gonna die on my phone. I don't know if it's gonna make it. I do have an external battery that I should use maybe. Hey, welcome to the stream. Thanks for checking in this morning, wherever you are. I don't think many people from Vancouver watch me, because like it is 4:30 right now. Hello. Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's not mine. I don't own the modes. I don't own the means of production here. I'm a mere worker. I'm a mere worker here. I ought to own the means of production though, because I've worked here for many years now. I've done this job for almost let's see. Next year it'll be 6 years. I will have done this job for 6 years next year. There is an eco. No, we're a bagel shop. We make Canadian style bagels, aka Montreal style bagels. I had never been to Montreal, so I have no way of confirming whether or not these are actually Montreal style. They say they are, but I prefer the term Canadian style, in spite of the controversy it might cause. Canadian style bagels. Yeah, it's a gas fire oven. I guess that's one of the another reasons why I'm hesitant to call these Montreal style bagels, because they say that Montreal style bagels should be baked in a wood fire oven. These are baked in a natural gas burning oven. I think it's a little bit more Canadian to burn natural gas nowadays. A recipe? All I know are the ingredients. I've actually never made the bagels. I only bake them. We have we make all the bagels at a commissary, and then we receive the bagels on the at our site, and then we have bakers at each site that bake the bagels. But the bagels are not made on location; they're made in a commissary. I could tell you the ingredients though. There is water, flour, unbleached white flour, malt barley flour, yeast, salt, sugar, what else is there? Oh, egg. We have egg, and we put egg in our bagels. And I feel like I'm forgetting one thing. No, I think I got it all. Yeah, I think that's all. Yeast. I think I said yeast. Obviously, you need yeast. Flour, water, sugar, salt, malt, barley flour, and eggs. It's a pretty simple ingredient list. So unfortunately our bagels are not vegan. I apologize to all the vegans out there. Maybe one day we'll make a vegan bagel. Oh, North Vancouver is really humid right now. It's one of those days that is like, you know, it's like plus 20 degrees and it rained out there, so it's like, I feel like I'm swimming in the atmosphere right now. Swimming in the troposphere or whatever. What is the part of the atmosphere that humans live in? The troposphere. Those are I'm boiling the bagels in that pot. They're, well, I'm going to show you in a minute here. Just going to stir it's a big pot of boiling water with half a liter of honey added to it. And I boil the bagels first. We need new boards. These ones are burnt. Crap. Look at these boards, they're like burnt. Seriously burnt. This one's not so bad, but it's the only reason why it's like this is because nobody's using it, because it has a twist in it. I don't mind it. I can use it with the twist, but the other bakers refuse to use it because it's twisted. Do some poppy seed bagels. So far I have 2 batches in the crate, and I have 2 in the oven and 1 in the pot. I'm going to take this one out right now. Yeah, the bagels are ready. Take it out, put it on the table. I'm adding a little bit of water to my pot to just slow the boil down a bit so it doesn't boil over, and also whenever I throw the bagels on the table I lose a little bit of water, so I gotta keep the level of the pot up. Hello. Let's do the it's yawn. Oh my god. Oh, I had to get that out of me. Holy crap. Oh. That hit me like a brain embolism. It felt like a mini stroke. You know you're tired when your yawns feel like strokes. Mini strokes. I'm going to do the Declaration of Independence now. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them to another, assume among the powers of the earth the separate equal stations which the laws of nature. Oh my God, my brain. I guess let's let me count first here. I guess I can't do this while I count. After I've had a stroke. Oh. Oh, ha. Let's see. Yeah. I have a bit of a headache right now, actually. I think that yawn did give me a headache. I think maybe I'm getting sick. I have like a really dry throat this morning. I don't know what's going on. I have got sick in July before, so maybe it's happening again. This isn't usually the time of year that I get sick, though. Usually happens in like fall or around Christmas time, when diseases are being spread by people with weak immune systems because they're eating too much sugar and are stressed out about all the money they're spending. I think Christmas is actually just a conspiracy to weaken people's immune systems so they start dying. I'm not exactly sure why Christians would want me to die but maybe they're running a sweatshop in heaven. And they need sweatshop workers, so oh fuck! I think my phone's gonna die. It's not gonna make it. Actually, I'm gonna take my gloves off and use my external battery. I think I have time to do that. My oven's a little bit too hot this morning. I sort of roasted that batch there. Some people like them crispy though. I like them crispy. Let me see if I can find something here. So I'm just going to take this camera down here a second. Sorry for the terrible view of my face. Oh, come on, charge.